It may seem like everything is going great for Avengers star Mark Ruffalo, but he has his own tragic backstory that would make even Bruce Banner shed a tear. We'll take you inside the life of Mark Ruffalo that you won't see on camera. Before we get started, click subscribe for the latest from the taco. Let's begin. You might know Mark Ruffalo best from his work as the Marvel Comics character The Incredible Hulk. Starring in the Marvel superhero movie is kind of a big deal and tends to lead to a ton of roles and big paychecks. But for a long time, he struggled to get his career off the ground. He was born in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and grew up with two sisters, Tanya and Nicole, and a brother named Scott. School can be difficult for any kid, but Ruffalo had to deal with some conditions that made things even more challenging. He struggled with both undiagnosed dyslexia and attention deficit disorder as a child, and well into his early adulthood. Although his childhood was overall a happy one, Ruffalo struggled significantly in school. He claims that he never felt like he fit in anywhere, or with anyone. Things were difficult, and he felt like a freak because of his conditions. For a long time, people were quick to dismiss him as unintelligent or lazy because of the way that he struggled, which caused him no small amount of anxiety. He ended up barely graduating high school, and soon after things took a turn for the worse for his family. Soon, his parents ended up in dire financial straits, and his father left his mom and their 4 kids alone and trying desperately to get by. Ruffalo also had to deal with the loss of his childhood best friend, who took his own life. Despite his struggles, Ruffalo remained close with his brother Scott. The two moved to Los Angeles together and managed to scrape by. While Ruffalo worked as a bartender and took on small acting gigs, his brother Scott excelled in his career as a hairdresser. For years, Ruffalo lived in his shadow, claiming that Scott was the real star of the family. Ruffalo also became close with Chris Penn, the brother of well-known actor Sean Penn. In 2006, Chris was found in his apartment, the apparent victim of a drug overdose. Emotions were high, and at one point, Ruffalo got into an altercation with the paparazzi, although no charges ended up being filed against him. Since his career was struggling, Ruffalo couldn't yet afford to move out of the notoriously dangerous MacArthur Park area of LA. It was notorious for being overrun with drug dealers and addicts, and Ruffalo recalls seeing the streets strewn with people suffering. Violent crime was part of daily life in this area, and Ruffalo was unable to afford to move anywhere else. In 2008, tragedy struck Ruffalo again, and his brother Scott was found deceased in his home. To this day, the case is unsolved and will probably remain that way. 3 years after, a key witness, Shaha Mashal, was also found deceased. She and her boyfriend, Brian Schofield, had both been considered persons of interest in the case. After losing some of his closest friends and his own brother, you would think that things couldn't get much worse for Ruffalo, but then he was accused of being a terrorist. No, really. You see, Ruffalo was a supporter of an anti-fracking documentary called Gasland. He helped promote the film and publicly discussed his concerns over natural gas drilling. A rumor started that this had caused him to end up on the terrorist watch list. At first, Ruffalo found the rumor amusing more than anything else, but soon realized that it was seriously damaging his reputation. He was forced to set the record straight and tried desperately to restore his image in the court of public opinion. Not only were things going wrong all around him, but trouble was brewing inside his own body. He was getting ready to start work on the M. Night Shyamalan movie Signs when he had an eerie dream. Ruffalo dreamt that he had a brain tumor, and the dream terrified him so much that he actually went to the doctor. Rather than assuring him that it was just a dream, the doctor told Ruffalo that he indeed had a brain tumor. It turns out that he had a mass the size of a golf ball behind his left ear and needed surgery as soon as possible. This obviously meant that he was unable to appear in Signs, and Joaquin Phoenix ended up taking over his part. Not only was he heading in for dangerous surgery, but his wife, Sunrise Coigny, had just given birth to their first child. Ruffalo was so certain that he wasn't going to make it that he recorded a tape for his son to listen to someday when he grew up. And in a way, he was right once more because his heart stopped while he was on the operating table. Although the surgery saved his life, it completely robbed him of hearing in his left ear, and for a grueling 10 months, his facial muscles were paralyzed, meaning that his career as an actor was pretty much over. This was painful enough to deal with, and of course there were rumors that his condition was due to drugs or alcoholism. Being a new father, struggling with a barrage of health issues, and having the public think that you're struggling with addiction wouldn't normally be a recipe for success. But Ruffalo was determined not to give up, and in 2012 he ended up replacing Edward Norton as Hulk in The Avengers. And as you probably know, that franchise has been successful to say the least. Throughout his career, Mark Ruffalo has been an outspoken advocate for LGBTQ rights, but some fans believe he doesn't put his money where his mouth is. When he was executive producer of the film Anything, he cast a cisgender man, Matt Bomer, to play a transgender woman. There was a huge public outcry, and people claimed that Ruffalo was all talk when it came to equality. To his credit, Ruffalo responded to the backlash, claiming that he thought of Bomer for the role when they worked together on HBO's The Normal Heart. He claimed that he was glad for the dialogue and feedback from the trans community, and added that he was still learning. Did you know about the tragic backstory of Mark Ruffalo? Do you think that it helps him portray the troubled Bruce Banner? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and be sure to click subscribe for more videos from the Taco. Bye for now.